Hi, my name is Shay Anderson, and I am sitting out here in my backyard, so I hope you can hear me okay. And I wanted to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to our stories. We have found something that we're obviously really excited and passionate about, and we wanted to do our best to share that with other people. So thanks for taking the time to hop on with us. I have been a coach now for 3 years. I just had my first my third Beachbody birthday, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about where I was when I was sitting in your shoes. So I rewind. I've always been like a tall kid. So I mean, when I was a kid, I was always the tallest. I was always tallest girl in my class. People always told me I was big and, you're such a big girl, you should play basketball, or I don't know. But it started to get to in my head, and I just thought I was a bigger person. And then I started listening to myself. And looking back at pictures of me as a kid, I was never even chubby. I mean, I was just a taller kid. And but then I did start to get chubby, and then I became very insecure. I developed, regular around like age 13, 14, so junior high, but I had like gigantic boobs and I was so uncomfortable. And so I think I packed on weight to kind of hide that fact, and always wore like baggy sweatshirts, and I was just so uncomfortable in my own skin. And I was a swimmer. I swam, 18 hours a week. I was captain of my swim team. I was a successful swimmer, but I still just never felt comfortable being me. And so the weight kind of just stayed. It stayed through college. I became very insecure and shy. I was never outspoken. And finally, I decided that I needed to just change my life. I was kind of at a crossroads, and I started running, and I started losing some weight, and I started gaining that confidence. And that's actually when I met my now husband. So this was like 7 years ago. And so I met my husband, and things were great. My confidence just kept increasing. I kind of started to really embrace who I was. I guess before I met him, I started to just embrace who I was, and really became more confident as a person. And we got engaged, and I lost a bunch of weight, getting ready for the wedding. And I felt really good about myself, but it wasn't a lifestyle that I was sticking with. It was all kind of fast fixes. And so after the wedding, the weight came back on, and I remember seeing one of my good friends who, she was a volleyball player. She was always really tall with me. And she had this amazing postpartum journey and has looked amazing, like had abs and really nice legs. And I remember thinking, oh, I just need to do whatever she's doing. And she was a coach. She had just started coaching. She was also a teacher. I was a teacher full-time at that time, and I had been teaching for several years, and my husband was in graduate school. So we had moved to Colorado, and he was in graduate school full-time, and I was a teacher full-time. And as you know, that doesn't really help support a family. Teaching income is really hard, and our rent was really expensive, and we were barely scraping by every month. And I just remember hating the feeling of being in debt and having, barely being able to pay for our gas at the end of the month. So I reached out to my friend and I said, I need to do whatever you're doing for your workouts, and I also need to make money. So in my head, I thought, this is a win-win. Now, rewind a little bit. This took me like 6 months to finally jump in, because I remember talking to her about it and then waiting and just thinking, oh, I can do this on my own. I don't need this. And nothing changed. I was at the same weight 6 months later when I reached out to her again. We are still scraping by, like nothing had changed. And so it took me 6 months to finally jump in. I was a total skeptic. The only thing that pushed me over the edge is that somebody gave me a free bag of Shakeology. and I got hooked. I loved it. And I tried every single other protein powder, all nutrition powder, every single other protein on the market, or, you know, anything that closely resembled what I thought resembled Shakeology. I tried it and it was gross, and I didn't have the same results, and I didn't feel as good. And so finally I was like, I need this in my life, and I need the discount, and I need extra money, and I need to lose weight, and I need the accountability. So it was just an all over win-win-win that finally pushed me over the edge. And I remember being really skeptical about sharing on social media. I had shared my fitness journey through a little kind of niche called Tone It Up. You've probably seen their workouts and stuff, but I was a nutrition plan member, and I had like a private fitness account. So I was kind of comfortable on Instagram, but Facebook I never even touched. And so it took me like 5 months to maybe like 3 months to finally post on Facebook and just start sharing my journey. And I was so afraid. I was terrified that people would judge me and that they'd think I was doing this like weird MLM thing or this pyramid scheme. And when I finally opened up and shared my journey, people just embraced me and just showed me so much love and really reached out and were inspired by just my story. And not saying that they were inspired to even become a customer, but I would get emails from people saying, I struggled with eating disorders, and you sharing your struggles has really helped me get past that, or realize that I'm not alone, and, really positive things that didn't even affect, I didn't get a challenger out of, I didn't get a customer out of them or anything, but it's still, I knew I was out there helping people, which was my end goal, that at the end of the day is why we do what we do, is we love to help people, because we have all been there in some form or another, so us sharing our story is an outlet to show other people that they're not alone. And so I was afraid of that pyramid scheme. I didn't want to be stuck in something that was shady or sketchy. And what I realized is it really is just it's just a business. And the reason why people are worried about a pyramid scheme is because it really kind of ends up looking like a pyramid, and I'll explain why. So this might be backwards for you, but any company has a CEO, and then you have the vice presidents, or a president and vice president below the CEO, and then you have your top executives, then you have your middle management, then you have your employees. It goes out like a pyramid naturally. Any business plan does. And so that's what this is. You are the CEO of your own company. You get to make it however you want. You get to build your own brand based on what fits you. So if you wanted, I know Lissa talked about self-love earlier, like she's really built her business around self-love, which is incredible. So you can kind of build your business fitting who you are as a person, and then your team of people, their team of coaches become your business. So it kind of ends up being a pyramid. But the cool thing about it is that, as I'm going to go back to here. So for example, for my business, I'm the CEO. One of the first coaches, actually she was like down here, that joined my team, is top 5 in the company and way past me. So she can make way more money than I can. And she did that fast because she just hustled. She had a big goal, and she had a big vision, and she just hustled, and she made that happen for her and her family. And so you can earn way more than anybody above you. There's no limit on your success except for you. So you just have to get out of your own way and just reach for that goal. And that was my struggle. I took forever to even just wrap my head around how to do this, because I was so afraid of what other people thought. And it really I was in my own head. I was in my own way. And then once I started to share, people really started, to just embrace what I was doing. And another thing that I noticed, or I was worried about, is that I wouldn't have time to do this. I was a full-time teacher. I had a puppy at home and a husband, a new husband. And I started fitting it into my day. And I'll explain a little bit of how that works. A lot of people say, I don't have time, I have this other job and I have my kids and everything. And so really you can fit this in an hour, 1 hour of your day, and you can build your business. If you have a really big goal, you can double that, you can triple that. It just depends on what you want. Do you want just like a little extra gas money, or do you want to build a business and replace your income? And what timeline do you want to do that in? So I just really wanted to pay off our debt. So I would just work like an hour a day, and my schedule would be, I'd work out in the morning, and I would post it in my groups, I'd post it on my page, and then I would listen to personal development and fuel my mind with positivity on my walk in the morning. I'd walk my puppy, and then I'd listen to it on my way to work. And then I started my day fired up at work. I was so positive. I was so excited to just be me for like the first time in my life. And then I taught elementary school. I'd teach those kiddos. And then at lunch, I would take just some me time, and I would listen to personal development. I would answer some messages, and I would get, prep for the rest of the day for school. And I'd be listening to my personal development while I was doing my schoolwork. And then I'd listen to personal development on my way home. And after work, I would, do a little bit more of my task list that I'd broken into these chunks of that hour. So my hour was kind of broken out. And then right before bed, I would see if there's any messages I needed to catch up on, or like while my husband and I watched a show, I would just kind of message here and there while he was, while he's watching sports or whatever. And I'm still sitting next to him, and we're still kind of interacting, and it's like no big deal. So, so this was my life for a few years, and business started to grow, and it was doing really well, and I was really enjoying it. I was the healthiest I've ever been. I'd lost like 20 pounds, and I was super strong. And I guess that was like a year into it, and I found out, surprise, we were pregnant. And we were not planning on it. We did not feel like we were financially ready. We didn't feel like we had paid off our debt with Beachbody, so I put all my Beachbody money towards our debt. We had savings now, so we started to look at it, and we were like, we're freaking out, but we really are okay. Like we've because of Beachbody, like we've really been able to set ourselves in this good situation. So I was able to stay super healthy through my whole pregnancy. I gained 40 pounds, but I was able to work out the whole entire time and inspire other moms to do the same, which was awesome. And by the time I was a few months before, it was like my third trimester, we decided that we were going to move back to be close to family. My husband was going to start his internship, and we found a house we loved, and it was in like the perfect area, and we were able to buy a house while we were still living in Colorado. We still had a few more months left, so I used my Beachbody income to pay for my mortgage, and then and my rent, with my teaching income. So I was able to, just me, my husband's in grad school, not helping at all, was able to handle mortgage and rent and not dip into our savings too much. And then we did that for like 3 months. March, April, I guess, 3 months. And then we moved when my baby was 2 months old. It was crazy. And I was able to furnish our house because we had this hand-me-down furniture and stuff. So we furnished our house slowly, and then I had a job lined up to teach, and I just couldn't imagine going back to work. And so I sat down with my husband, and we looked at the numbers and realized that with my Beachbody income, I was making the same amount that I would make teaching. And so I was able to stay home. I was able to call that employer and say, thank you for the opportunity, but I need to stay home with my baby, and I can do that because I have this part-time job that I had been building just, an hour, 2 to 3 hours a day. And I was able to do it when it worked for me. So then I was able to stay home. So now I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom for a year, and my schedule's totally different now. My son wakes up so early, so I do not wake up before him. I really need to get doing that, but he wakes up so early, like 5:45. So, and I swear, whenever I set that alarm for 5, he wakes up at 5. So anyway, we're working on it. But I wake up with him, we have breakfast, everything. Then we go on a walk, and then I work out when he naps and get he takes a long nap. So, or even when he took 2 naps, I did my workout, and then I would get a bunch of work done. And then during his naps, I was my work time. So those were my set work hours during the day. And then when my husband got home, we'd have family time, we'd have dinner, and then he's always watching a game of some sort, so I would work again. And it's worked into our lives. I've been able to stay home. We crunched the numbers again this year and realized that it makes more sense for me to stay home again. So it's been an incredible blessing, and I'm so glad I jumped into it. I just wish I wouldn't have waited 6 months to jump into it, because it took me so long to get going. And I wish I would have just stepped out of my own way and believed in myself and knew that I can do it. And I still have to remind myself that every day, that this is working, and this is a job, and this is something that has fulfilled my life so much, and made this whole journey so worth it. I mean, I've been able to provide for so much for my family, and I'm still like, my husband's internship last year didn't pay very much, but we still, you know, we had our new house, and we bought him a car, and we're still able to do all these things that I never thought I'd be able to do with this job. If I would have gone back 3 years ago and talked to that person and told her all this, like, oh, you're going to be able to do this with this job, you know, this little job that you're signing up for to get a discount on Shakeology. If I would have gone back and told myself that, I would have said, no way. You are lying to me. This is so skeptical, so sketchy. But it's not. It's legit. It's a legitimate job where you're helping people every day. And it's been the most amazing journey, and with the most incredible women, as you guys have witnessed. Like, these ladies are amazing. So anyway, we have a blast. We just got back from Coach Summit, and I had so much fun hanging out with all these girls, and can't wait to just, you know, expand my life and enhance my life, I mean, by doing all these fun coach things we do. So I hope that answered some of your questions, and if you have any more questions, we're doing a live Q&A tonight. So hop on with us and ask us questions, or message below this, and we are open books. We do not hide anything, so just ask away. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye. I don't know how to end this. Uh-oh.